We're in 4.4 day 1, and we're going to start by talking about the modifications or the transformations that we can perform on a sine or a cosine graph. And with those different modifications, they have some names that we're going to be referring to as we go along. And those names are amplitude, period, and frequency. Now, frequency I'm just going to cross out for now because we don't do much with it in this section. We'll maybe do something with it later on next unit, but for now we're just going to focus on the amplitude and period. Alright, so we start with amplitude. Basically, what is it? It is the maximum displacement from the center of the wave. So that means half of the height. Now if I look down here at these graphs, that tells me the amplitude goes from here to here. That's the farthest away it can get from 0 is that amplitude. So that has an amplitude of 1. It's the distance from the center of the graph, which I'll indicate with a dotted line, to the maximum or to the minimum. So I could go from here to here. That would also be an amplitude of 1. So it's half of the wave. It is from 1 to -1, the total distance is 2, but we cut that in half. That's considered our amplitude for a particular graph. Now, period, that is going to be the length of one full cycle of the wave. So essentially it's this: you start at a certain point, we start at 0, 0 maybe, and we keep tracing the graph until we get back to home base, essentially. In going through all of that, I've gone from 0 all the way to 2 pi. And so when we're talking about sine and cosine, our basic period, or our period that we use if the function isn't modified at all, is 2 pi. So I've got from, on this cosine graph too, I start at 0 and I go through the wave, and then when I'm back to the start, that's at 2 pi. So that one also has a period of 2 pi in this case. And you'll notice that there's another half to this graph, and so oftentimes when you're graphing something, I will ask you to graph 2 full periods, and that's oftentimes going to be just go on the negative side too. Repeat this thing over on the negative side, and therefore you have 2 full periods going on here. So we've got amplitude is how tall, or half of how tall the graph is, and then period is going to be how far wide it is between the first point and then when it starts repeating, and you can continue that on the other side as well.